I want to welcome all the folks who are watching Big 12 softball. As you're now watching Big 12 baseball, Texas and Texas A&M, same two schools. There was the score of the softball game. For those of you who weren't watching that, Texas won at 7-6 in the bottom of the seventh, final inning. And you can see how close the stadium is to where we are.
Right across the street.
Right across the street. Greg Lucas here along with Jack Lazorko. We have a 2-0 Texas A&M lead. They scored 2 runs, one of them earned in the second inning. An RBI by Craig Bratson on a ground out, and a second run scored on an error, and that's where we stand. 2-0. Longhorns actually have one more hit. No runs. The hitter now is Brooks Marlowe. And he chops it to the first base side. House will race to the bag, and there are 2 outs here in the third.
Both pitchers getting a lot of ground balls today. Throwing to both Parker French and Ross Stripling, throwing a lot of strikes.
Stripling is the second of the big 3 starters for Texas A&M. Eric Weiss, one of the top hitters in the Big 12, will step in, hitting number 3. He had a base hit in the first. In the first, Texas threatened. They had runners at first and third with 2 outs, but the third out was Ricard and a ground out to short. They also had a runner that, as far as second base, with 1 out in the second, but couldn't bring him home. 1 ball and 1 strike. Those of you who joined us late because of the softball game or other programming, we'll have a quick update for you in a moment. There's a pop-up, left side, foul territory. Aleman will have room. Did he hold on?
He went in.
Yes, he did. Aleman, a great play from the third baseman heading into the stands.
Devotion. Pass it on.
Aggies lead at 2-0 as we go to the top of the fourth. Let's go back to the second inning when the Aggies scored their runs. They got them with base hits. Well, Sarek had a base hit. Troy Stein was hit by a pitch. Here's the first run coming in on that fielder's choice. And the second run's going to come in on this error. Backhanded attempt by Weiss. Couldn't make the play, and that's where we stand. The in-game box score, the guys who have been doing the job. Well, Sarek's got a hit in 2 tries. Alleman 1 for 1. Also just made that nifty play to end the last half inning. As we get set to go to the top of the 4th inning. And Troy Stein was hit by a pitch and scored on that error, the second run of the game. And breaking ball swings over the top of it. No balls and a strike. Parker French is the pitcher. He's gone 3 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of them earned. Make that, and he's hit 3. That's been the interesting thing about his line. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Parker comes in with a 5-1 record, a 2.91 earned run average. 2 balls and a strike, and now he has hit 11 batters in just over 60 innings. Chopper foul.
He's had lots of success here at Fish-Falk Field. 4-0 coming in with a 0 ERA.
Yes, but it's not anymore.
Not anymore.
He gave up a run, and one of those 2 runs was earned.
Yeah.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Chopper to third. Weiss. And another boot. Texas, until last night, was a superb fielding team. Last night they made 3 errors, and today they've made 2. Weiss has made both of them.
And that's been hurting them. They're getting behind with the mistakes. It comes off the dirt and the grass at the same time. Right there, you see it bounce up. You see some of the rubber pellets bounce up, and didn't make a really good play on that ball. And they got behind yesterday with the errors, the unearned runs.
That is the mirage dirt.
Yeah, mirage dirt.
That's not really dirt.
Yeah.
It's all the same. Looks like dirt. We explained this a little bit earlier for some. The base boxes in tradition, those were dirt. And sometimes there was a problem coming off the corner, but here it's all flat. It's just different color.
And the only dirt is on the pitcher's mound.
1 ball and no strikes. There's the sacrifice bunt. That will succeed in doing what it was supposed to do, as Alleman sacrifices and Stein goes down to second base.
So Blake does a nice job. Told to sacrifice, get the ball down, make the pitcher field it, and see that underhand flip. I'd like to see him come overhand a little bit. Sometimes you get that underhand flip, and runner might beat it there.
Well, you make a bad one.
Yeah.
You don't. Your release point's not right. Either let go of it too soon or too late.
You get your steps wrong.
Craig Bratson drove in a run with a bounce out to shortstop. Swings through that one. No balls and a strike. Baylor, the #1 team in the nation, is 18-0 in the conference. That's the best start any team in the history of this conference has ever had. And with 9 conference games left, they can clinch a tie for first place if Texas A&M either wins this game or tomorrow. There's a base hit in left field. Going to third base is Stein, and he's going to be sent to the plate. The throw will go to second base, and the Aggies' lead is 3-0 on an RBI single by Craig Bratson.
Yeah, really didn't have a chance out there. Walsh didn't really have a chance to throw him out at the plate and kept the runner off second base to keep the double play in order. Try to come back with that same pitch. Got him swinging at the first one, but he elevates that slider just enough to where you see Bratson drives it in the left center field. There's Walsh coming in, but he really wasn't in a position to have the arm to get him at the plate, but he keeps the double play in order to get the runner off second base.
That is a run, but another unearned run. Runner goes. Here comes the throw. Not in, well, it was in time. It was offline, and the tag was on the body, but the turf kind of slowed down Bratson.
And that's the thing. He hit head first in there, and like I said, it was like put the brakes on.
Look at this again. At first, it looked like, well, he's going to make that because the throw wasn't on line. But
he stopped.
He was blocked off, too. That was a nice play.
Blocked the base.
By Marlowe at second base.
Yeah, he blocks the base, gets right in front of it. That's what stopped him, his knee.
It's not the field turf. That was well done. Marlowe really should get some gold stars on that play because not only was a throw off line, but he got himself down, and he perfectly legal because he has every right to be there because that's where the ball's coming.
Right, he's right there ready to field the ball, in position to field, and he's in front of the base.
Yeah.
Very far in front of the base. And he tags him before he even gets there. Usually you're on the base with the ball, but he was in front of the bag there.
1 ball and 2 strikes. There's a base hit, and that shows how important that was, that they didn't get that runner to second base as Reynolds drops in a single.
Second baseman, number 14, Scott Arthur.
Mikey did a nice job of just taking that pitch inside out and into right field. And you got to believe he's going to be running too, Greg.
Scott Arthur has bounced out twice to the shortstop. Second time was fielder's choice to end the inning.
He also has 15 stolen bases on the year.
He out of 17 tries.
Yeah.
1 ball and no strikes. Of course, the guy that was thrown out was pretty good too. Bratson was 16 out of 20.
He wasn't expected to get stopped by the knee, though.
No, he wasn't. There he goes. Throws offline again. This time it couldn't be held, and it is a stolen base for Reynolds. Everything he's throwing is kind of fading toward the right side, and on the Brodson steal, that paid off because it did.
Yeah, he's throwing a tailing fastball. He's really not getting a good grip, and it's just everything's tailing to the right side over there. You see how Marlowe has to go over there to try to get the ball.
That might have worked if it had just been a little bit closer.
If it was on the base, he might have been a repeat. Should have blocked the base again.
Count of Arthur is 1 ball and a strike. Wait a minute, what do we have? An injury?
New helmet, new helmet.
New helmet.
Helmet injury, broke the helmet.
Reynolds, this is his lighter weight, fast running helmet. One ball and a strike. Two and one.
That off-speed pitch on the outside part of the plate, but Arthur wasn't biting on it.
A lot of time. In fact, time requested and granted to Arthur, who is a family that's got a lot of Aggie connections. His dad, Tom, played defensive back under Jackie Sherrill here. His uncle, Mike, was an Aggie footballer and later played some NFL with the Bengals, Patriots, and Packers. There's a bouncing ball off the pitcher's glove. French will go over and pick it up, and it's wide, and a run's going to score on yet another Texas error. Unbelievable.
Yeah, a young pitcher like that, you know, you get the ball right back to you. It might have some spin on it, but it's shot off, and in a situation like that, you try to rush it, and you see what happens when you rush the ball. You make the throwing error. Makes a nice pitch. He jams it with the ball. A little spin. It was off to the side a little bit. And in that case, sometimes you just have to eat the ball. But as a freshman, sometimes you get so excited you think you could get him, and see that ball just tail you through a sinker over the first base. You got the error, now you got the guy at second base, another runner in scoring position. And these errors are just killing the Longhorns right now. And last night's game, Greg, and here today, they're just giving away runs.
It's 4-0. 4 runs, 4 hits, 4 Texas errors.
You just can't have that, you know, especially in this park, and especially going against, you know, the 2 aces for the Aggies. As we see Skip Johnson coming out right now, and they may be going to the bullpen early.
Some of the errors the Aggies have made over the last 2 games have been tough chances. Some have been bad decisions. That was probably a bad decision.
Yeah, some of the other ones we've seen, they really haven't gotten their body in a fundamental fielding position to field the ball.
Well, they're conferring, and
I don't know if he's giving the bullpen a little extra time to get ready, or wait till the umpire gets out there.
This is like Nathan Thornhill, though, last night. Nathan saw 6 runs scored on his watch, but only 2 of them were earned in 6 innings of pitching. And
he's going to go to the left-hander, and if that's the left-hander out of the pen, it's probably going to be Hobie Milner.
And they are making the change, the pitching change for Texas, but this is, of course, Parker French made the last error, but that's the only thing that he did wrong.
Yeah, here's Milner coming in out of the pen to see if he could quash the rally right here, stop it right here.
Milner coming in, we'll tell you about him in a moment.
Coming May 13th, a Barclays Premier League event. On the final day of the season, 9 games, broadcast simultaneously across these Fox outlets, live. Who will join Champions League? Who will lose everything? Survival Sunday, May 13th, live at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, sponsored by Pizza Hut.
The happiest moment in my baseball career was when I put the Brooklyn Dodger uniform on.
I couldn't believe when I went out on the mound, I turned around and there's Joe playing center field for me.
I'm Tom Brokaw. Join me for The Boys in the Hall. the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends.
The Boys in the Hall, Sundays, presented by Subway Restaurants.
This is the State Farm Lone Star Showdown, Texas and Texas A&M. Of course, they keep track of their competition in all sports. This is the baseball version of it. This will be the last for the foreseeable future as the Aggies switch leagues, and so this series has extra significance for a couple of teams that have been playing each other for 108 years. Obie Milner's the new pitcher.
See those numbers, 6-4 with a 2.36 ERA. Obie out of Fort Worth, Texas. He also pitches very well here at home, as did Parker French. He's 3-1 with 2 saves with a .90 ERA, so he likes the friendly confines of UFCU Dish Falk Field.
Well, he came in to face Naquin in a house, couple of left-handed hitters. Naquin first, and the fastball is up.
Obie was drafted out of high school by the Washington Nationals in the 44th round.
You can see that on the top of the screen that Tyler hit for the cycle in the game against Houston earlier this year. There's a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Because he's been hitting against almost everyone. He came in today at 399 over 1.
Dropped down to 396, just a tad.
Obie Milner from Edgecliff Village, Texas, Paschal High School, born in Dallas, and as a third-year pitcher, he was very, very important for this team. Mostly out of the pen, but he started a few times.
Yeah, he's been very flexible for Augie, coming starting games, middle relief, even short relief, even saving some games.
Nice pitch. Caught the outside corner in a spot where you're not going to hit it.
His 2 saves on the year so far was 7-4 last year, so he's been very versatile for Augie, coming in a lot of different situations, and he's called in here to get the left-hander out and keep it right at 4 runs.
6'2", 165-pounder. Fouled away.
All right, do it again, kid. What do you say, man?
Texas A&M, with their victory yesterday, won their 30th game of the year, 30-12 overall. Longhorns are 24-15. There's just 1 game separating them in the Big 12 standings, and Texas has the edge there. That ball is fouled into the open area of seating down to the left.
See why Tyler Naquin, good hitter, especially against a left-hander. He stays right in there, doesn't bail out. He's trying to hit the ball the other way or drive it right back through the box.
All right, man, you want to see that for a long time, kid?
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2 already in. That's fouled back.
Right on that fastball. Those numbers last year, Nick won the All-American last year.
Milner and John Curtis have both done a great job out of the bullpen. There's a chopper to the left side. Comes up and dropped again. This is unexplainable.
You say great fielding team too. I mean, one of the tops in the league. And it was just a routine ground ball. Just a 2-hopper right at him.
He had it, and then he dropped it, trying to pick it up to throw it. Look at that. It's in the, well, I guess it wasn't quite in the glove.
Hits it off the chest.
5 errors in the game for Texas, and we're only in the 4th. There's a swing and a miss to House. First pitch to him. No balls and a strike.
And a lot of times, Greg, when you're feeling ground balls, you learn to read the ground ball off the bat, so you know where it's going to hop, and you know it's going to be a 2-hopper, or you got to get it before that 3rd hop. I mean, that's just part of, normal fielding ground balls. And it's just like a lot of these balls are just eating these players up right now for some reason.
No balls and a strike to House. Bounce to first, grounded to second. And it's 0-2.
We saw last night with Thornhill, what happens is you give a team extra outs, so what happens is your pitchers start getting their pitch count up, and they can't get deep into the ball game, and then you have to go into your bullpen a lot earlier.
Oh, we say 4-1.
Weiss has made 3 errors today, and he had only 10 coming into the game. His fielding percentage was never that high. It was .905. but he's really had a struggle. No balls and 2 strikes.
Come back. Hey, not a bad spot, kid.
Tried to grab that outside corner with that fastball. Could have went either way on that one.
Yeah, it looks like it must have just slid outside. All these, as I say, you can't really go by the catcher's glove on breaking balls. They're stealing home. He got there. Now, if they get the 3rd out, it won't make any difference. The run will still score, but they don't get the 3rd out. This is not Texas baseball.
Well, you know, Augie's just fuming in the dugout there. This is fundamental baseball right there. He went on this first move, you know, scoring right there on Arthur. Watch this. When he goes over to first base, they do that. That's a planned move where he just falls down, and you think you got the runner there, but even if they get the runner out at first base, the run's still going to score. So you see a lot of clubs do that, where the runner will just fall down, and the pitcher, just for that split second, takes his mind off the runner on third base, and he's coming.
And House drives the ball to center field. Maitland, though, should make the catch, and he does, and that retires the side. Well, that last little flare perhaps caps the whole problem that the Longhorns are having. 3 runs in the inning, and it's 5-0 Aggies.
On Fox. Tune in right at 8 as hard-hitting heavyweights Pat Berry and LeVar Johnson go head-to-head in the first of 4 huge fights. Then Palhares battles Belcher. Koscheck takes on Hendricks. And Ultimate Fighter champion Nate Diaz faces Jim Miller for a shot at title contention. 4 huge fights, 1 great night. May 5th live, free, and only on Fox.
Soy mexicano, americano.
Cubana americana.
Colombiano americano.
Boricua americana.
Dominicana americana.
Mexicano, americano.
Cubano, americano.
Peruano americano.
Dominicano, americano.
Colombiana y americana.
Mexicano, americano.
Americana como tú.
Americano como tú. Americano como tú.
This summer, say hola to the new Spanish language broadcast network for you. Mundo Fox, americano como tú.
The Dan Patrick Show. Weekdays. Check local listings.
Well, this is what you do when you're a head coach and your team has just not played up to par the last 2 games.
5 errors on the day.
These are the batters, but the story is the errors that have transpired by some of those guys. Eric Weiss has had a real tough game at third base. Kind of mental error there on the steal of home.
Yeah, it's a combination. It's not all physical errors. It's physical and mental errors today. And it's just not executing basic fundamentals. And I think you saw that little meeting with Augie and his team, and that's what he's got to be fuming about right now. It's not Texas baseball.
Well, the Aggies have right now a comfortable lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Of course, they had one they thought yesterday. Don't forget this, Longhorn fans. Longhorns came back down 6-0 in the 9th and made a game of it. They had the lead run in second base. Couldn't get that 1 extra hit. Here's where Stripling ranks nationally. I'm sorry, just the Big 12. Which is good enough. 2.65, 3 complete games. And a strike. Wallace has singled his first time.
Yeah, we talked about, you look at the numbers there, and he had the breakout year last year, led the nation in wins with 14 last year, and he just picked it up where he left off last year. He was an All-American last year.
Which makes this all more frustrating for Texas to be playing as poorly as they are defensively, while their offense has to face a guy as good as Stripling.
Yeah, so like the Aggies have 2 aces. They saw Walker last night, who was an ace, and Stripling is an ace as well. And you got back-to-back of them, and you give them these easy runs, these unearned runs, and you're just asking for trouble. It's hard to battle back from behind, and now this takes Texas out of their game, which they like to get a runner on them, sacrifice them over. Well, you're not going to sacrifice them over. We're just trying to play for 1 run right now.
And with all due respect to Joe Garziola, who wrote a book of this title, baseball is a funny game. This Longhorn team has to play Baylor later. The Aggies already have and lost all 3. It's a funny game. Baylor's #1 in the country, no question about that, the way they've played. The Aggie team with this pitching, you kind of figure, how can they lose 3 in a row to anybody? But they did.
I think he swung and missed, and that hit the umpire right on top of the head. You don't see that often, Greg, where you get it right on top of the head. Yeah, I mean, you talk about a funny game. Last time out, you talk about one of his losses. He's 6-2 Stripling. He threw 7 2/3 against Baylor and lost 1-0 against the Baylor team. Threw a great game, and they got swept.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Walsh. There's a foul. There's a quote on the board right now. Baseball's the only sport I know when you're on offense, the other team controls the ball. True, Ken Harrelson said that, but Longhorns haven't done a very good job of controlling the ball. That's the problem. Here's the 1-2.
Hey, baby, 3's coming up, kid.
And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Probably chasing off speed pitch down and away. He's been right on that fastball, pulling that fastball, so he tried to change it up a little bit.
That's outside. And we got into this discussion too before, Jack, about baseball and softball related. How unique they are. Because essentially every other team game is a goal on one end and a goal on the other end. Whether it's hockey or rugby or soccer or football, basketball. The bat and ball games are distinctly different.
And the other thing that baseball had is no time clock in baseball. You have to get 27 outs.
As we found out last night.
Right.
That's right.
And we found out why A&M was stealing in the 8th inning with a 6-0 lead. I mean, you just never know in this ball game. Guys could be cruising right along, and you have one turn, and the momentum just switches.
Well, or you change a pitcher, and the pitcher is so important. That ball is driven deep to right field, up the bat of Walsh. It is going to be over and out of here. Jonathan Walsh with his 3rd home run of the year. Maybe that'll pump the Longhorns as they're on the scoreboard, now down 5-1.
And Ross Stripling tried to get him again with the fastball after throwing 2 off-speed pitches. He tried to come in with Walsh, who has pop, and you saw what he did. He just turned that ball around, even though the wind was blowing in from right. Drilled it over the right field wall. Setting up outside, but he got laid it right over the middle part of the plate. And just does where the fans are at out there. A really good swing on that. That was one of the pitches he left out over the plate, and you saw what Walsh did with it.
Well, after the conference from their head man, the first man that hits, bangs one out of here. Here's Alex Silver.
In the fight to win it, kid.
Swings through that one. No balls and 2 strikes. Alex grounded out the short, ending the 1st inning.
You're at your best up there, kid.
I think it's got Ross's focus just a little bit more. He's just cruising along. We just said it a second ago, Greg. You know, you're cruising right along, and sometimes that home run unnerves you.
1 ball and 2 strikes. That is the 5th that he's given up this year.
The Longhorns have to do something different to change momentum. Obviously struggling defensively. They got to find something offensively to turn this around.
Know it, kid.
Stays down. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Oh, kid.
That ball's fouled away. You know, they still have that Ken Harrelson quote on the board here. And the thing that, other note that comes to mind is, you know, he's a broadcaster for the White Sox, but he's also a trivia item because he is supposedly the man who first wore batting gloves. The Hawk. But there was a reason for it. And it wasn't what you think. There's a fly ball to center field. I'll tell you about it in a moment, because first, something important. Tonight, NASCAR on Fox heads under the lights in Richmond. Yeah, go ahead. As defending champion Kyle Busch leads the world's best drivers in a chase for the checkered flag. That's Kyle right there. Fox Sports is proud to bring you exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing live from the Richmond International Raceway tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. That guy needs to go in the pits. I think something's wrong with his
car.
Yeah, something's wrong with it. No balls in a strike 2.
Yeah, there was a couple of weeks ago. They're up in Texas Motor Speedway, up there in Fort Worth, Texas.
Felt single his first time. The point about Ken Harrelson is one day he played a whole bunch of golf before a night game. And he blistered his hands. He blistered his hands, and his teammate, by the name of Sammy Esposito, you can't tell the manager.
Right.
Convinced him to wear his golf gloves to protect his hands. And he started it. There's a high pop-up. And the left fielder, Bolseric, races in to make the catch. Emily kept moving away from it. And so, at that point, everybody thought he was just doing it. Hey, good idea, good grip. And
who knew he had blisters on there? If the manager would have found out, he wouldn't be able to pack the golf clubs anymore.
No. So that's the story as to how the batting gloves that everyone wears nowadays began. Now, of course, they have made true batting gloves. You don't have to wear golf gloves, but
not only have the batting gloves, Greg, now they got the sliding gloves. They've got all kinds of. If the guy gets to first base now, it's a whole ritual. You got to change.
He started the industry, and he doesn't have any money for it. We'll be talking to Coach Childress coming out of the next break. And later, Augie Garrido, who's not going to be in a real happy mood.
No, not at all.
That might be short.
Short answers.
1 ball and 2 strikes. He wasn't too happy last night.
Yeah.
He was down 5-0, I think, at the time.
See if he goes around on this pitch. On the outside
Wesson, by the way.
He held up on it.
He kept it back. Kevin sacrificed his first time up. Hits that one in the air. Shallow. Sun's going to be a problem maybe for Naquin. Got to have the hand up, but he sees it all the way. That retires the side. But Longhorns get on the board as Jonathan Walsh hits the first home run of the 2 games. A line drive homer over the right field wall. Through 4, it's 5-1.
Although we honor our alumni, we don't recommend walking in their footsteps. Instead, we encourage you to run right past them. The University of Texas. What starts here changes the world.
Europe's greatest sporting event. The world's finest players. And top teams. The pride, the passion of UEFA Champions League. The road to Munich continues all season long on Fox Soccer.
You just gotta survive. Fight your way to the finish. Car down, you're on fire. Get out of there. Get out of there.
The world's top drivers fight to the finish. Sprint Cup Racing, live from Richmond. Tonight, only on Fox.
5-1, Texas A&M's on top, and for the second day in a row, we get to talk with Rob Childress, the Aggies head coach, in a happy moment. Your guys jump out on top again, taking advantage of mistakes, getting a few clutch hits, and here you are.
Well, that's usually the way it works when the 2 good teams get together. You got to take advantage of opportunities that you get. You're not going to get very many, and whether it's a walk, a hit batter, or a mistake defensively, and we're able to capitalize on that in the second, again in the 4th inning, and able to extend the lead with a 1st and 3rd offense. And Walsh comes right back with just an amazing at bat to get them on the scoreboard.
Rob, I want to find out how often you guys work on that. With a lefty on the mound, you have 1st and 3rd, where Tyler breaks and kind of just stumbles a little bit, and that pitcher takes his concentration off that runner on 3rd.
Well, we spend some time on it. Andy and Justin and Mike do such a great job with our offense, and we do spend some time during each week on that. And when the opportunity's right, 2 outs, a left-handed hitter up, we'll put that on.
That's no longer a secret, though. Hey, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Rob.
Rob Childress.
You can see that with the left-hander up there, he has his back to the third base. That guy could get a good lead.
Yango is the hitter, and he is ahead on the count. 2 balls and no strikes. Hobie Milner. And he makes the play.
There you go. Ground ball right on the hands. I said Hobie's a very versatile pitcher. Comes in and does a great job for Augie and do a lot of things. And busted him right there on the hands, got the ground ball to short. And boy, Jordan's had some action out there today at shortstop.
The numbers for French were 3 1/3, or 3 2/3 rather. 4 hits, 5 runs, but 1 earned. The only earned run he's given up here in this ballpark. There's a pop foul fly out of play.
And you said it earlier, Greg Thornhill, made it through 6 innings. He really battled, gave up 6 runs, but only 2 earned in last night's ball game.
3 earned runs out of the 11 that A&M has scored in the first 2 games. There's a strike called. If you're going by just earned runs, Texas won last night. And they're tied today. Bounced up. Bolseric had a single and bounced out to first base his previous trips in. This is Wood who has replaced him. Wood.
And Brandon Wood. Brandon came in last night as well. It's pinch runner and pitch hitter is 1 for 1 in last night's game.
He came in with a left-hander on the mound. That ball hits him 1. It's a 4th hit batter. It's been a strange game.
The pitch was inside, tried to come back in and bust him inside, but again, threw it down, right down in the dirt. Kind of overthrew his fastball. Kind of bounced up and hit him.
Troy Stein up with a runner at first. He's been hit by a pitch and reached on an error by third baseman Weiss. He scored twice. Strike with a fastball. Well, Texas may have looked not good last night, and so far not good today, but no one's been in the College World Series more. 34 times they've made it there, and they won 49, 50, 75, 83, 2002, and 2005. Last 2 under Augie Garrido. No balls and 2 strikes. That's way up. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He tried to waste one, but we're way out of the plate. And when you're wasting a pitch as a pitcher, you want to have a purpose with it. If you waste it too far, the hitter doesn't really have to think about it.
He's just saying, that's another pitch in my favor. Maybe I can get the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, the ideal 0-2 pitch is not a ball. You don't waste it, but you throw it at a spot where he might swing at it, but he isn't going to hit it.
Got to make a decision on it, then it'll set up your next pitch.
There's a bouncing ball fair down the third base line. Stein has a base hit. He's going to go into second base. The throw will go in, and he will be safe. Close play, good throw by Walsh. But Stein gets a double.
Yeah, really nice throw by Jonathan Walsh. Really was on the wall over there. And threw a strike. You see the pitch. He tried to get the ball inside to Stein. But Hobie couldn't get it in there, and he pulls it right down there past Weiss. As you see Walsh going into the corner almost by the wall and throws a strike to second base and puts a tag on it. Just slides in safely.
He was able to hold on to the bag, which is also a key. So runners at second and third with 1 out. The hitter is Blake Alleman. He has singled and sacrificed. The infield is playing in normal positions.
I think that maybe a short and second would be in just a little bit more, maybe to cut that run off the plate.
Bouncing ball to short, and because they're back, the runner will score.
Yeah, they're giving up the run right there. All they have to do, it's a great situation for Blake. All you got to do is put it in play. Put it in play, and you got to run, and he did his job. So there's a productive out, and anytime you get a productive out, boy, managers love that.
6-1. Stein goes to third, and the hitter will be Brapson, who drove in a run.
Especially on this grass or turf or whatever it is, the PAT. It's not a fast turf, so a ground ball, it's not like that old AstroTurf where if it's not right at you, it goes right through. Here you got a little bit of a chance. I was surprised they played him back.
Yeah, the most you're going to save if you're playing in and the ball gets through is at 1 run.
Yeah.
But they did get an out. They'd been playing in. Maybe that ball gets passed. Who knows? 1 ball and 1 strike. That ball is hit to center field and caught on a dive by Maitland.
Nice play by Tim Maitland coming over to right center field and snagging that line drive. Going full out.
6-1 Aggies.
Devotion. Pass it on.
20 years ago, we were here at Dishwalk Field as Cliff Gustafson and Mark Johnson led their respective teams. There's a long drive. Goodbye. And that says it all. Pitches is all he's thrown here with 2 outs in the 9th. 89 pitches, and that's it. What a performance from Doug Pettit. The Longhorns win it 13-2. Well, that will warm up the hearts of Longhorn fans who right now may be a little down with the score. The Longhorns have been a superb team, 6 College World Series championships, 33 appearances, 76 conference titles, and it goes on and on. But today's not been one of the good days.
Yeah, it hasn't been uplifting here today, but like I said, the great history here for the Longhorns.
You saw in that opening shot, we're talking about Cliff and
Mark Johnson. Yeah.
Next to Cliff, who was there? Tommy Harmon.
Tommy Harmon.
1 ball and 1 strike.
And we saw Mark Johnson last night at the stadium at Texas A&M's field.
Tommy's hair was like mine. It was brown in those days. There's a bouncing ball out. Maitland is retired from Arthur. Now Jordan Etier struck out and is only at bat.
I think the Longhorns could chip away at this, down by 5. Strickland is kind of refocused after giving up that home run.
That's a line shot that will drop in front of Ratson. And it's a single for Etier.
They just took that fastball and went the other way with it. And we've seen it from some of these Longhorns, Greg, just jumping on that first pitch.
Still plenty of time to chip away, especially since the numbers show Texas is a much better hitting team as the game progresses. We saw that first hand last night. They waited till the 9th inning, which was maybe too late. But They've been better offensively as the game has progressed all season. So the question is their defense has to tighten up, and the pitching has to continue to be effective.
Well, it just shows from the bullpen standpoint where these Aggie starters to go deep into games with the complete games. They only have 4 saves as a team, whereby you have Corey Knable.
There's a drive to the right field corner, back toward the warning track. It is a fair ball. Bounces off the wall. Etier's at third base. They're going to hold him there on a double by Mark Payton.
Boy, Mark's been hot. Last night, had 3 hits last night, and he's still hot.
There's some numbers on how they warm up late in the game.
High fastball. And he just hooked that ball right down into the corner, and Naquin almost got to it. 2 runners at second and third with 1 out.
Team batting average for Texas is .270, but from the 4th inning on, they hit .288. In the 7th and 8th innings, they're hitting .305. Well, we're only in the 5th inning now, so maybe they're starting early to come back.
That's what I was saying before that. The Aggies only have 4 saves as a team, where you look at the Longhorns, 14 saves, and Corey Knable has 8 of them. And you see there's no action in the pen. We saw it last night. Walker went all the way into the 8th inning and came out in the 9th. And in the 9th inning, Longhorns scored 5 runs.
Well, it's a warm day. Humidity's low, though, and shouldn't be a problem yet. It's only the 5th inning for Stripling. He has been touched now for 6 hits.
Said Longhorns got to capitalize here. You got runners in scoring position. You got to at least get one of these runs in to chip away at that 6-1 lead. Deficit.
64 pitches is all that Stripling has thrown. 46 strikes. That's a tremendous percentage. Here's Marlowe's fly to right and bounce to first. Inside.
It's interesting he's going from the windup with a guy on second base. A situation like that, a ground ball, base hit. It's going to score him. You're going to get a bigger jump off second base instead of going from the stretch, and you're keeping him a little bit closer. So you're going from the windup, so that gives that runner at second base a lot better lead.
2 balls and no strike. Well, you start feeling it too when all of a sudden you've given up a couple of solid shots, gave up a home run in the last inning. It's only the 5th, so the game's anything but over. 57 total. Pulled the string. 2 balls and a strike.
And that's what he has. He has that changeup in his arsenal where he can throw it at any point, just like Walker last night. It's a nice changeup, just dives down. He gets that ball up there in the low 90s, and he also has that good hard-breaking curveball.
Longhorns really need to get both of these runners home before this inning is over. That's up and in. 3 balls and a strike. On deck is the top average hitter in the team, Eric Weiss.
He also leads the team with 4 home runs.
The 3-1 pitch. Foul back, full.
That's the guy they want to get up.
The 3-2 with 2 in scoring position. Chop to the right side. That's going to get 1 home. They'll trade it for an out.
And in that situation, we talked about it, Greg, you'll give up an out. You give up a run to get an out in that situation, keep your infield back. You get 2 outs. Try to get Weiss here, and here's the situation. Weiss last night drove in the 2 runs in the 9th.
Weiss is singled and popped up foul territory. Excellent catch by Alleman as he had to go into the stands. Well, a base hit here would be big for Texas, at least to get that other run home before the inning ends. And they will. There's a base hit up the middle. Weiss comes through. Scoring is Payton, and they have cut the deficit in half.
That's where Ross is getting hurt. He's leaving these pitches out over the plate. He's elevating even the breaking ball, hanging a little bit, and there's a fastball that you see Weiss just turned on it. High fastball, let her high, and Weiss just tattooed it right back up the middle.
Now Jonathan Walls, who ripped a home run his last time up, he actually started his comeback in the fourth. He's 2 for 2. The second baseman, Arthur, is well behind the marked infield area in the short right field.
Playing short right field, I guess, Greg, huh?
That's it. There he is on the right of the screen at the top. Strike called. And it's 1 ball and a strike.
You see the difference in the speed where Wonka gets it up there to mid-90s, a little bit higher, and he could get away with that high fastball and throw it by these hitters. And we saw that last night. Stripling can't get away with that all the time. Doesn't throw as hard as Walker does.
Weiss at first base. Stolen 9 out of 11. This is a situation where Longhorns would have to decide, well, do we want to take a chance of getting him in scoring position where a single would score him, or do we want to just see about our power guys?
And you still got the hole open over there on the right side. You got a little more space over there with House holding the runner on. Got a bigger hole of hitting over there, so it's a decision the manager has to make. Plus, like I said, he hit the ball out of here last time, looking maybe for another 2-run homer.
That's fouled back. This is the 4th inning, that leadoff homer by Walsh, and he ripped it. Line draw, it had to be because the wind is crosswind going from right to left. You can see the flags there. It wasn't helping him any.
No, and that didn't affect the ball. Like I said, it was a line shot out of here. He's hoping to duplicate that now and get the Longhorns within 1.
Prior to the next half inning, Augie Garrido has agreed to join us again, and he'll be in a little better mood because his team is coming back. He had 2 conferences with his team. Actually, he had one in the dugout, and he had one before they went out on defense. 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's a drive, right field in the air though, and it won't go very far. Naquin is ranging over to make the catch, and that retires the side. 2 runs in the inning as the Longhorns cut it in half. It's 6-3 A&M as we go to the 6th.
The happiest moment in my baseball career was when I put the Brooklyn Dodger uniform on.
I couldn't believe when I went out on the mound, I turned around and there's Joe playing center field for me.
I'm Tom Brokaw. Join me for The Boys in the Hall, the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends.
The Boys in the Hall, Sundays, presented by Subway Restaurants.
May 5th on Fox. Tune in right at 8 as hard-hitting heavyweights Pat Barry and LeVar Johnson go head-to-head in the first of 4 huge fights. Then Palhares battles Belcher, Koscheck takes on Hendricks, and Ultimate Fighter champion Nate Diaz faces Jim Miller for a shot at title contention. 4 huge fights, 1 great night. May 5th live, free, and only on Fox.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekdays. Check local listings.
Texas, of course, was named Team of the Decade for the 2000-2009 period. They won a couple of titles. Augie Garrido was the head coach. He is with us again now as we get set for the top of the 6th. Down 6-3. Shaky start, kind of like last night, but at least you've got time and your offense is starting to come around.
Well, that's very kind of you to describe it kind of like last night. I think this was worse, but we really are fighting our way back and have a chance to get ourselves back in this game before it's over.
Augie, we saw you talking to the club not only in the dugout but on the field. Did you give us a gist of what you said to the guys?
Well, they have to get that ugly start behind them and start the whole process over, or else they're going to play with the jitters the whole time. It doesn't take much to get these fans frustrated, especially when we're making the errors that we're making against the Aggies.
Well, your offense has started getting them back, and I know you've got plenty of time. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks,
Thank you as well.
Augie Garrido's been with us. That's where it kind of starts. I mean, obviously your defense has to be good, and it hasn't been.
Well,
but if you hit, you can come back with the amount of time that's left.
And what he doesn't want to, you tell the guys, hey, forget about it. It's over. We got off to a bad start. Put it behind you. Don't be thinking about it the rest of the game. Almost start anew, and that's what they're trying to do right now.
Here's Reynolds. I think his reference to last night, it was pretty bad, but there weren't as many errors, but there were some wild pitches, and he was also facing a pitcher that I think they knew they were going to have a lot of trouble with, which they did, Walker.
Well, not only that, you're seeing a couple of mental mistakes, too, which you didn't see last night, kind of starting to creep in.
1 ball and a strike here. And the leadoff man, Mikey Reynolds. Mikey has scored once, stolen a base, 1 for 3, and a strike call.
It's like they put those first, 3 innings behind you, 4 innings that the Aggies scored the runs on, and now the Walsh's home run, and now they scored 2 runs. And Milner throwing the ball well, gets him looking on the call, 3rd strike. It's like a new game, tale of 2 games.
And again, that is the first Aggie hitter to go down on strikes.
Good fastball on the inside part of the plate. I don't think Reynolds was expecting that.
Scott Arthur, he has also scored a run, reached on an error, stolen a base. He's 0 for 3 officially. One ball and no strikes. Maybe another quote on the board. Rogers Hornsby had several. Of course, he's a native Texan. There's a bouncing bunt to the right side. That's going to be real tough. Impossible. It's a base hit. Scott Arthur with a push bunt.
That's a real nice play by Scott Arthur. With Milner falling off to 3rd base, he had a big area, big gap just to push the bunt through. Watch him as he falls off. He's got to come all the way back, and Arthur with his speed really makes a nice bunt. Because first baseman Silver really could field that ball because nobody be over at first base. It's a nice push bunt. You push it towards the second baseman, and that's exactly what he did.
Well, he's at first with 1 out, Tyler Naquin, the hitter. Hornsby said, I don't want to play golf. When I hit a ball, I want someone else to go chase it. He also was the one that was asked what he did during the offseason. He says, I stare out the window and wait for spring. He was a real baseball man. He was, of course, the best right-handed batter by average in the history of the game. He also had some power, and he's from Texas. Naquin has been hit by a pitch, bounced to first, and reached on an error. There have been a few that have reached on errors.
They got the same situation here now. Like I said, they're only up by 3. Are they going to leave the hole open for Naquin to hit through, or are you going to send Arthur, try to let him steal?
Yeah, he's going to hit a double play.
Right, yeah.
4, 6, 3. It's a double play, and that retires the side. So has the tide turned? Are the Longhorns pumped? They're still down by 3. We'll go back to the bottom of the 6th next.
It's time for what Texas A&M does best. Driving our service to Texas and the nation in research and discovery. Lifting us to the top of the list for corporate recruitment and jobs. Aggie spirit shines as we challenge and advance. Now, more than ever, it's time for Texas A&M.
Good morning, freedom. Hello, adventure. Today is yours to chart new paths and rediscover old ones. Capability has found its versatility, making all days and all terrains equal. Go ahead, raise your hands, lower your foot. Today is yours to go find your power, and where you'll find it is within.
What makes Sam Adams Boston Lager great is as simple as ABC. A, the appearance. Amber. B, balance.
Sam Adams has malt sweetness, hoppy bitterness.
C, complexity.
Piney notes, grapefruit notes.
Only believe your own palate. Go taste it.
May 13th, a Barclays Premier League event. 9 games, broadcast simultaneously across these Fox outlets. Live, Survival Sunday, May 13th, sponsored by Pizza Hut.
The Aggies have enjoyed playing in the Big 12 Baseball Championship at Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City, especially the last 2 years. May 2010, Jack and I watched the Aggie senior shortstop Brody Green. He stepped to the plate against the Baylor Bears in the 10th. Scored tied at 3. Not for long. He went 4 for 5 on the day, en route to being named the championship's most outstanding player. Then last year, the Aggies met the Missouri Tigers. Guess what? Scored top bottom of the 10th. Andrew Palazzo was batting with 2 outs. The Aggies capturing their second consecutive Big 12 championship in 3rd overall. For information about the 2012 Phillips 66 Big 12 Baseball Championship, go to Big12Sports.com. This year's double elimination tournament starts May 23rd, again in Oklahoma City. We'll carry the championship game Sunday, May 27th, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. We've had some really good games that have been won in the last at-bat, sometimes extra inning last at-bats.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of those extra inning games up there, and the heroics, obviously the last 2 years by the Aggies.
As is the case in baseball. We've had a couple that were one-sided, but we've had a lot of good ones. There's a chopper off the bat of Alex Silver out to Arthur, and there's quickly 1 out.
Well, Steve Ross has got to get that shutdown inning. Gave up 2 runs the last 2 times out. 1 run in the 4th, 2 runs in the 5th. See if he could shut him down here.
Jacob Phelps has singled and flied to left. Ball 1. 6 runs, 6 hits, no errors for Texas A&M. 3 runs, 7 hits, and ouch, 5 errors for Texas.
Well, you would think with 5 errors, Greg, the opposing team would have a big lead or run away with it 5 errors. But like I said, it's a close game, only 3 runs.
Texas still has 3 2/3 innings to hit. That's fouled away. They got 1 run in the 4th, got him on the board, a home run by Walls. Then the next 3 were retired in order. Then in the 5th inning, after a ground out by Maitland, Etier singled, Payton doubled, and Marlowe bounced out the first. That brought in a run. Then Weiss singled, brought in another run. There's a high fly ball, short center field. Coming in for it is the center fielder, and he gets to it. Bratson, 2 outs.
With his speed out there, Bratson.
Here's how the Big 12 championship works. 8 teams with the best conference record will qualify. It's a double elimination format. They went back to that last year. The championship game would be on Fox Sports Regional Network Sunday, May 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Check your local affiliates because there may be some that will have conflicts with other events and be delaying it, but that's when it's being aired live around the country. Here's Kevin Lusson. Going back to that double elimination is really best for all concerned. They used the pods for a couple of years, but the problem was they had some games on Saturdays that had absolutely no bearing on anything. And with double elimination, every game means something.
Oh, yeah. You could lose that first game and come through that loser's bracket, and sometimes those games on Saturday, you would win a doubleheader just to get into the championship, and we've seen that before.
Pitch is outside. 3 balls and a strike. It's really, for some of the schools that know they're going to get bids to the NCAA tournament, you say, well, is it really important? Well, it is in one way, because if you do have to come through a loser's bracket, you're going to have to be using some of the pitchers you're going to have to probably be using in the NCAA tournament that maybe haven't pitched a whole lot for you, so get them some work in tournament play.
Gives them a lot of experience, some of those young players.
Well, that's a quick 1-2-3 inning as Stripling certainly bounced back. As we go to the top of the 7th, it is 6-3, Texas A&M over Texas.
At UT, you'll find plenty of alumni to look up to. The question is, how soon will they look up to you? The University of Texas. What starts here changes the world.
The war had been gone for 2 years, and I got the calling. I got the calling to join the service and support the boys over there. I never thought that I would have PTSD. I thought that I had enough coping skills.
I don't think anybody who goes into combat could ever honestly say that they're not different when they come home.
My life's changed. What you take as a simple thing is not so simple for me anymore.
It's like a pressure cooker. And, you know, you want somebody desperately to trip that valve. You know, you want to, like, you know, lose all of that anger and angst.
I would say to those people that are out there, get educated. Don't brush us aside and don't count us out.
Hear more of their stories at usoinvisiblewounds.org. The wounds are invisible. The stories are real.
McCombs Field is where softball was played earlier today. Many of you saw it. We got a report now from Brenda Van Lengen.
Texas wins the Lone Star Showdown against A&M 7-6 on the softball diamond. But A&M started off strong in this game with a 6-1 lead early behind the big bat of Nicole Morgan, who had 2 home runs. Her first was off starting pitcher Blair Luna. Then she scored another home run against her reliever Rachel Fox. But Texas came back with a 4-run inning in the bottom of the 5th. They were within a run in the bottom of the 7th, and this game-winning hit from Tori Schmidt sent 2 across the plate to give Texas the victory over their rivals, the Longhorns. And on the softball diamond, Texas with the victory, 7-6. Back to you, Greg and Jack.
Thanks, Brenda. Of course, that was a come-from-behind victory for Texas. Strange similarities may be brewing because it was 6-1 here, Texas A&M. And now it's 6-3, and there's still some time left. We're at the top of the 7th inning. And a strike to Jacob House. I don't think the softball bats are as dead. They were hitting some bombs.
They were hitting some bombs over there, yeah, this morning. And what if that karma came right across the street?
No balls and a strike. There's a base hit to left field. Nice job by House, just picking on it and going with it.
They really did a nice job. Lefty on lefty, just took it the other way. He'll be elevated just enough to where Jacob would just get enough on it to drive it into left field. You look at his swing right here. See, the ball's on the outside part of the plate and doesn't try to pull it or roll it over.
It was right on the ball.
Yeah. So Skip coming out here.
Engel and Wood, 2 right-handed hitters, are up next. Stein.
Yeah, and they already made the call to the bullpen.
And I think this was Curtis. Last time we looked, he was down there. Let's take a look. But here's this Falk is named after 2 of the great former Texas head coaches, Billy Dish and Viv Falk. Viv Falk, of course, played in the major leagues with the White Sox, Yankees, several teams. In fact, I think he had a 300 lifetime average. We're going to take a break. We'll tell you about the new pitcher, the new arm. It's John Curtis when we come back.
The war had been gone for 2 years, and I got the calling. To join the service and support the boys over there. I never thought that I would have PTSD. I thought that I had enough coping skills.
I don't think anybody who goes into combat could ever honestly say that they're not different when they come home.
My life's changed. What you take as a simple thing is not so simple for me anymore.
It's like a pressure cooker. And, you know, you want somebody desperately to trip that valve. You know, you want to, like, you know, lose all of that anger and angst.
I would say to those people that are out there, get educated. Don't brush us aside and don't count us out.
Hear more of their stories at usoinvisiblewounds.org. The wounds are invisible. The stories are real.
As John Curtis takes his warm-up tosses here in the 7th, let's take a look at the Big 12 players of the week. Josh Ludia Baylor was the player of the week at .533. That should win him some awards. Frank Duncan was the pitcher. Kansas, very strong against Texas. Look at how well he did against the Longhorns. Nathan Orff of Baylor was the newcomer. .600 batting average will do that. And John Curtis, who We are going to see pitch. Was the newcomer of the week last week. 3 games, he got his first collegiate win. Tell us about John.
Yeah, the freshman out of South Lake, Texas, was drafted last year out of high school, 30th round by Colorado. Having a good year so far his freshman year, 2-2 with a 2.680 ERA. You see, he's got 2 saves on the year as well, 33 punch-outs and only 18 walks. So he's got to come down here and try to get these right-handers out and hold them. 6'4", 200-pounder. He's a District 7-5A pitcher of the year last year at high school at South Lake.
Works to Yengel with a runner at first base. Nobody out here in the top of the 7th. Both teams have 7 hits. The Aggies have more runs, 6-3. Playing for the double play up the middle, and a breaking ball is a strike.
The high school second-team All-American last year. Had a good year, 9-0 last year, South Lake High School.
Short lead at first for House. You know, I was going to say they're going to get double play if he lays one down, but it's a strike called. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, it's an interesting part of the game right now. 7th inning, you're up by 3. You got no outs. You got the runner on first. You try to hit and run. You try to push him over to get him in scoring position. Got a lot of strategy going on here.
House at first. Pretty big guy, and he has run pretty well. He's 8 out of 11 stealing bases. This team runs. The Aggies attempted over 120 steals. They've got 90-some stolen bases. A nice bunt if it stays fair, but it won't. Had it stayed fair, it had a hit.
Yeah, the only thing about House is he's got that bad arch, and so you're not going to see him stealing too many right now. He missed a game before this series, and they weren't sure if he was going to play in last night's game. So he's a little tender over there.
Knows how to wear his baseball socks, though, by golly. 1 ball and 2 strikes. In fact, most of the Aggies know how. Chopper to the right side, foul. Whoa, nice play, but it was foul. Silver got a hold of it.
And it was right over there. See, Van was holding him on right there, so the ball was right there. Didn't have to go too far. And just out of his reach, foul ball.
Here it is.
See if Curtis can get the ground ball. Twin killing.
That's foul. Matt's a senior, and he's been a very key Aggie for all of his years. You're watching the Aggies and the Longhorns from Austin, 6-3. Texas A&M won the first game of the series last night. Greg Lucas and Jack Lazorko here. Bob Steinfeld producing, Hill Thornell directing, and a crew of veteran sports cameramen and audio people, tape people, graphics people. 1 ball and 2 strikes. A little bit low. 1 and 2. You know, we sort of take that for granted, but the sports production in the state of Texas has been around heavily since the first cable network, Home Sports Entertainment, started back in about 1983. And so we've developed quite a cadre of talented production people. Camera guys who know exactly where to be. There's a swing and a miss, and that's out number 1. I can remember one game. In fact, our current director, Bill Thornell, was basically teaching the cameramen where to go almost with every call. That pitch is a nice pitch.
Slider, yeah. Slider down and away and got Matt to chase it.
Brandon Wood, he came into the game in the 5th, was hit by a pitch and scored a run on a bounce out by Blake Holloman.
You see these good freshman arms that Texas have. They're just getting the experience. See Parker French here earlier. He threw the ball well. seeing Curtis right now, and that's the thing. You got young arms. It takes them a while to develop, but towards the end of the year, Greg, they get that experience and they get into the tournament play, and they're ready to go. They're almost like got a full year under their belt. And you said that earlier. You know, you're gonna have to use all those arms you have.
Some of them pitch during midweek games, but there aren't as many midweek games as you get toward the end of the season as there are early on. One thing the Big 12 has had this year is everyone's had one weekend series because of the number of teams in the league. It's an odd number to play baseball. Baylor, for instance, playing New Mexico this weekend. I want to say they're not the team off, so to speak, but they're not playing conference play. 2 balls and a strike.
And we'll see 2 teams coming in next year. TCU, who a lot of these teams played during the midweek. Next year, they'll be playing them in conference play, and West Virginia as well coming to the Big 12 Conference.
Pitch is low and throwing the knees to no avail. House is down there. Well, he did go.
He did go.
As it turned out, he had an easy one because the pitch was way low and had to be blocked by Feltz, and he was in no position to throw.
I saw it go down and really didn't have a chance to get him out.
9th stolen base in 12 tries. 3 balls and a strike and 1 out to Wood. Wood came into the game, and in fact still is because he was hit by a pitch, hitting .283.
Trying to get that runner in a scoring position.
And he's on. Let's see, that looks like the first walk. 4 players have been hit by pitches, but only 1 walk. And now we've got Troy Stein.
One of those who was hit had been on base all 3 times.
Double, 2 runs in this game. He drove in 3 in last night's game.
Yeah, 3 for 4 in last night's game. On base all 3 times today.
Strike called. No balls and a strike. And until the home run hit by Walsh in the 4th inning here for Texas, his drive off the top of the wall last night was the longest ball of the series. The 0-2 or the 0-1 pitch, and there is a pitch that's crowd thought it was a strike. Crowd doesn't have the umpire's suit on.
Catches any part of the plate, or depends where it's set up.
Runner at second base, House, first base, Wood. 1 out, playing for a double play up the middle if they can get a ground ball, but the pitch is wide and it's 2 balls and a strike.
Trying to keep everything away to these right-handed hitters. At some point you have to come inside to get that ground ball. You can't be nibbling away all the time.
Swing and a miss. The Aggies will play Sam Houston State at Sam Houston State on Tuesday. Their next series will be against Texas Tech. And then in 2 weeks, they are the team not playing in conference play. They'll play San Diego State for 3 games. They'll wrap up at Oklahoma State a week before the tournament. Texas has some big ones left. They've got to still play Baylor. And that's one of those series like the one with the Aggies. The first game will be at Baylor. The next 2 will be here on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of May. That wraps up the regular season. They still have to go to Missouri next week.
That'll give them a pretty good test right before the Big 12 tournament starts.
3 balls and 2 strikes. And if the Aggies win this game or don't win today but win tomorrow, Baylor has clinched the tie for first. That's fouled back.
And you would think 18-0, it's just a matter of time before they clinch the spot. If not, like I said, not this weekend, possibly next weekend.
They won their non-conference game yesterday, 5-1 against New Mexico.
We mentioned they had that streak of 24 losing to UT San Antonio this week.
There are 9 Big 12 schools playing baseball. 8 of them will make the tournament field, and that number 8 spot really up for grabs.
And Greg, we may be out there for that final. That Kansas State-Texas Tech game we'll be doing out in Lubbock.
Stein walks, so the bases are loaded. Let's take a look at the standings in the Big 12. This was going into play today. And again, you see 9 schools, and one of those bottom 3, most likely one of those bottom 3, will not make it. Who's it going to be? Well, you're right. That series.
Yeah, the Texas Tech series against Kansas State's the last series. They play each other, so they'll be battling for that final spot.
Well, that means it looks like it might have significance.
Significance. We'll be doing that Saturday game because they move things up because of the tournament, so they start their series Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that Saturday will be the last game, and it could be a pivotal game to see who goes to the championship.
Well, they got to have a discussion on the mound here because these Longhorns just can't afford to give up a hit in this inning. They can't afford to give up a run. They're still down by 3.
Nobody warming up in the bullpen.
Well, Curtis just came in, and they've gotten good work out of Curtis this year. First runner wasn't his responsibility because that was House. He got a base hit off Milner.
No, like I said, Greg, we've seen this before where young pitchers, freshmen, this is his first taste of this series of Texas A&M, and sometimes the nerves get to some of these players, and Skip's got to go out there and say, hey, you got to pitch the same way you've been pitching all year long, even though this is a big series, first rivalry series he's pitching in.
There's a youngster walking up right in front of us. He's wearing a Longhorn burnt orange shirt and a Texas Ranger red cap. They don't go together. Sorry, red and burnt orange do not, they clash. Alleman dribbles the ball up the middle. That's a base hit. Here comes a run. Here comes the second run. The throw to the plate will be cut off. And there are the 2 runs the Aggies wanted. And their lead now goes to 8-3. A clutch 2-run base hit by Blake Alleman.
He was looking fastball. You know, after the pitching coach comes out, probably tell him, hey, let's throw strikes. First pitch fastball, he jumped all over it. See Blake right here gets a fastball right down the middle and hit her right back through the box. Almost hit Curtis. You see Maitland come up with the ball, but didn't have a chance to get runners at the plate to put 2 more runs on the board.
Now Bratson is up, and he takes the first pitch for a strike. Big game for Alleman, who has 2 hits, 3 runs batted in.
Nice catch in the stands.
Yeah. Runner now at first and second. Ooh, nice block by Phelps. That kept some advancement.
See if a couple of runners moving right there. Nice, get in front of the ball. Nice fundamentals. Knock it down in front of you.
Runner at second base is Stein. Alleman is at first. Only 1 out in the inning. Thought about it, but the pitch, well, he thought the pitch was also off the plate, but it wasn't. Strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Got to respect Bratson's speed.
Bratson's had a couple of runs batted in. That's fouled away and should be in the stands or over them. Well, there was a guy walking down the concourse, and he just stopped, kind of ducked his head.
Minding his own business.
Just missed him, hit behind him. Foul back. Full house here today. It's been a great afternoon for baseball. Still 87 degrees. Shadows starting to come up on the left side, as you see from the stands. Kind of getting rougher on the right fielder, though, the right side of the infield, because the angle of the sun's getting a little bit low. One ball and 2 strikes. Bratson fouls it back. Check swing.
Curtis looking for that ground ball. Still looking for that double play ground ball. So the walks hurt him this inning.
Missed just outside, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, at least in this game now, the earned runs are 4. So Texas A&M has more earned runs in Texas, 4-3. That's a high pop-up right side. Second baseman Marlowe. Infield fly. Didn't even have to catch it. 2 outs.
It makes it feel a little bit better. Right now, Greg, the errors that they made, they caught up in the earned runs.
Yeah. Top of the batting order, Mikey Reynolds, who has grounded to short, reached on one of those errors by Weiss. Singled, stolen the base, scored a run on another error, and was called out on strikes. A little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes. And what do we got? I'm not sure what that's about. Home plate umpire just stopped, looked over toward the Texas bench, pulled out his little card, and that may have been some kind of a warning from somebody in the bench. Jeff Hendricks. Somebody may have said something, and he marked it in his permanent record.
Instead of pulling out the yellow card, he just marked it down, right?
That's right. 1 ball and no strikes. That pitch is a little bit low, and it's 2-0.
I think the Longhorn dugout, I think that plate's getting a little bit smaller.
Two balls and no strikes. Reynolds still waiting. Is looking to get some outs. 2 balls and 1 strike. Stein's the runner at second now with Alamond at first after his 2-run single. Two and 2.
And you see, got good stuff out there. Good hard fastball right there, high one. Can't catch up to. He gets it up there in the low 90s.
Well, Curtis only a freshman. He's another one of these guys that by the time he's a junior, could be in the starting rotation here.
You'll have the scouts with the guns out there like we did last night for Walker.
Strike 3 call. He just buried him in the middle, and that retires the side. 2 runs in the inning. A big 2-run single by Alamond. It's 8-3 A&M as we go to the bottom of the 7th.
Coming May 13th, a Barclays Premier League event. On the final day of the season, 9 games, broadcast simultaneously across these Fox outlets, live. Who will join Champions League? Who will lose everything? Survival Sunday, May 13th, live at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, sponsored by Pizza Hut.
The happiest moment in my baseball career was when I put the Brooklyn Dodger uniform on.
I couldn't believe when I went out on the mound, I turned around and there's Joe playing center field for me.
I'm Tom Brokaw. Join me for The Boys in the Hall, the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends.
The Boys in the Hall, Sundays, presented by The Dan Patrick Show. Weekdays, check local listings.
8-3 Aggies, it's stretch time for the Longhorns. They have some stretching and some reaching and some scoring to do to get back in this one. Here's our schedule of upcoming Big 12 baseball telecasts. Number 23, Oklahoma, takes on Oklahoma State in Tulsa Friday. That's, of course, part of the big Bedlam series. Then Baylor, number 1 in the land, against number 23, Oklahoma, May 12th. Kansas versus Texas Tech, May 19th. And the Big 12 Baseball Championships, the final game, May 27th, 2 p.m. Eastern. Check your local listings.
Yeah,
they'll be up there. They'll be on. Maitland. It's like today, some of you picked us up in progress because the softball game ran a little bit longer, but we're here. No balls and a strike to Maitland. It's inside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And here's where the pitcher you want to have that shutdown inning. After your team scores some runs, you want to shut them down this next half inning right here.
Maitland has flied to center, grounded to second. And nice stop by Stripling.
Ooh, nice little glove save on the mound.
Ooh, that's
gotta like that. Gotta like that
that's
fielding pitcher.
That's kind of like Jack Lazorko, the great fielding pitcher. He used his hands and his feet.
Whatever it takes. You know, you're throwing those sinkers, you're throwing those low ones. You got to be ready to field your position. And hey, over the course of the season, it'll win you, save you 4 or 5 games.
Jack, of course, college career at Mississippi State, then a long professional career.
Hey, you make the little glove save and then just throw a strike over there.
Most notable for his time with the Angels. And here is Etier. That's foul away. No balls and a strike. They got another little note for fans. Most career strikeouts in Texas baseball history. I can't use that as a quiz because you can read it yourself. It's 541 for Greg Swindell, who still has spent some time with the program.
Yeah. He's here as a volunteer coach.
Yep. The old left-hander. Biggest years with Cleveland, but played for several other teams in the major leagues. Etier's 1 for 2. He singled and scored in the 2-run fifth.
Stripling only has 93 pitches. Entering into the 7th inning.
It's fouled back.
You got the left-hander just kind of slowly lobbing over there in the bullpen. Estevan Urigas in the Aggie bullpen. First time today we've seen anybody get up in that bullpen.
One ball and 2 strikes.
Come on, Jordan!
That's going to drop in for a base hit to center field as Etier has his 2nd hit of the game.
Nice piece of hitting by Jordan.
Hits are even, the runs aren't. And we go to the top of the batting order. Peyton, both teams have 8 hits. Peyton has gotten 1 hit in 3 at-bats. He was robbed of a base hit in the 1st inning when House made a dive snare at first base right down the line. But he doubled and scored in the 5th. We're in the bottom of the 7th. It's 8-3, Texas A&M. Aggies won last night 6-5 after taking a 6-0 lead to the 9th. Longhorns, I gave you that stat earlier about how much better they have been as a hitting team as the game moves on. They showed that in the 9th inning yesterday with 5 hits and 5 runs in the 9th. That's foul.
Get that ball right inside on him, really jammed him.
Aggies scored 2 in the 2nd, 3 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 7th. Longhorns have a single run in the 4th on a home run by Walsh and 2 runs in the 5th. The first half of the game, first 4 innings really first 3 innings was highlighted by numerous Texas miscues, 5 errors.
Looked like a completely different team, Greg, this first half of this ball game.
Starting pitcher Parker French gave up 5 runs. Only 1 of them was earned.
And he was doing his job. We talked about getting all the ground balls he's gotten. The problem was his defense wasn't helping him field those ground balls.
Milner and Curtis have given up 3 runs combined, and they've all been earned. Meanwhile, Stripling just keeps moving along. He had that stretch in the 4th and 5th, especially the 5th, but then he retired the side 1-2-3 in the 6th. Here he has a runner on with 1 out. 1-2 count to Peyton. And that's a liner past the dive of Arthur, the second baseman. That close to a double play. Ball bobbled in center by Brodson, but Texas runner Etier's not going to take any chances. It's a base hit.
Boy, this looks like Scott Arthur just missed that or hit off his glove. Just didn't flare it down just enough to slow it down. Peyton puts a good swing on that. He gets a fastball and just drives it right back through up the middle. And does he get anything on it? Looks like he changed direction a little bit.
We notice where the runner was, Etier. Had he been able to catch it, that's a double play.
Yeah.
Instead, it's a base hit, and the inning continues for Brooks Marlowe, the number 2 man on the batting order. Marlowe has flied to right and bounced out twice to the first baseman, House. The second time, he brought home a run. Still time to peck away at the Aggies. A run here, a run there. There's a strike call on a breaking ball.
And that was the importance of last inning when you saw Skip Johnson come out and talk to Curtis, you know, to try to stop it. Those, you know, you walk in a couple of guys, you know, giving up those 2 runs in the top of the inning here, really, you know, put him behind the 8 ball again.
Marlowe takes that one inside.
Gives Stripling just a little bit more cushion to work with here.
Marlowe from Giddings, Texas, which, if you drive from College Station to Austin,
you see it.
You may pass. It's right on 77. There's a bouncing ball foul.
Going to some of his off-speed pitches. If the Aggies don't get those 2 runs, Greg, we're talking about, you know, there's a tying run coming to plate like we did last night in the 9th inning.
Marlowe lets it slide by. Marlowe had a big game against highly ranked team Rice earlier this year. He was 3 for 5 and drove in 3. He also had a really good series against Texas Tech, having 5 hits in 13 at-bats. But prior to this series, he'd been in a bit of a slump. He had 4 straight hitless games. He had 1 for 3 against Texas State, and then he started the series last night. 2-2 pitch, just misses.
Nice Stripling wanted that pitch. He thought he had it. The breaking ball on the outside part of the plate.
Marlowe 1 for 7 in this series.
There's that breaking ball we talked about. Did he drop it in there? Must have just missed.
And he was hoping it was high, and it may have been high when it actually crossed the plate.
See if the runners take off here. 3-2.
Not going. On the fists, he's going to ground out to first base for the 3rd time. Is it? Yep, they didn't say hit anything, just off the fist. The runners advance. 3 times he's hit the ball down there. Well, he's gotten to the point now where if Weiss can come through, they can score 2 and basically negate the 2 that were scored by the Aggies in the top of the inning. Those were tough runs to have given up.
Well, it's interesting here. You got the base open, you got a left-hander up. Obviously, Weiss, great hitter. But then you got Walsh behind him, who has the home run tonight. Right behind him, so you got the 2 left-handers.
Weiss has 2 hits and 3 at-bats. Drove in a run his last time in the 5th with a single.
Right behind him, Walsh has got the home run. He's got a base hit, so it's depending who do you want to pitch to here.
Again, Arthur, the second baseman, is playing short right field. They're going to not make the throw to second.
Yeah, that was a timing play between the catcher and the shortstop and the pitcher. And again, going from the windup with a runner on second base, that's just about as sure as you're going to score on a hit. Obviously, there's still 2 outs. He's going on a contact, but you're really not going to have a play at the plate.
Strike on the corner.
And other times when you're pitching, you want to go from the stretch and just try to give your outfielders a chance to throw him out in case you give up that base hit.
Foul ball.
And both times with that breaking ball, started him off, got the called strike, and threw another one, and Weiss pulled it over by the dugout. See if he tries to stay inside or tries to pick a corner on the outside part of the plate, maybe backdoor another off-speed pitch.
Tried at the outside corner, but missed it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That was one of those pitches, again, we talked about him earlier. He was trying to hit the outside corner, but if he missed, he didn't care. Just as long as he didn't miss over the plate.
Right, and that was a good waste pitch we talked about early in the game where it didn't mean anything. You threw it way over the guy's head.
Then he comes back down and in and strikes him out. That's a tough hitter to get out in a key situation as Weiss strikes out, leaving 2 on base. We'll go to the top of the 8th. It is still the Aggies 8, the Longhorns 3.
devotion. Pass it on.
Action goes to the 8th. Texas A&M on top 8-3. And probably have some Baylor Bear fans that have checked in today. Their team is playing today, but if Longhorns lose this one, the best they can do, or anyone can do, is tie the Bears. Well, the only other option would be Texas A&M. Tie the Bears for first place in the regular season. The Bears would have clinched at least a tie if the Aggies win this game, or tomorrow if they don't. Arthur is up. He's 1 for 4. Scored a run back in the 4th inning. Curtis's first fastball is high, and it's 1 ball and no strikes.
So John settles down after a little bit of an erratic inning last inning. Couple of walks, couple of hits.
Going into play today, Baylor had a 24-game winning streak, conference and non-conference. Wow. They actually had one back in 1985 under head coach Mickey Sullivan. But the 24-gamer that Baylor has, as they lead the conference and the nation, is the longest of any Division I team this year. These two teams are trying to catch them and want to be ready to knock them off in the postseason tournament. 3 balls and no strikes to Arthur. 3-1.
You become a young pitcher, try to be a little bit too fine. Instead of you have a good arm, just go ahead and go right at those hitters, and you start falling behind. See right there, he waits till he goes 3-0, then he starts throwing, getting back into the groove. Talked about it, best pitch in baseball, strike one. You want to come right at those hitters.
On the 5th, slowly hit. Weiss will have to make a good play, and he doesn't. Apparently the foot was off the bag.
Yeah, it would have been a tough play.
That'll be a hit. Should be a hit for Arthur.
Yeah. Arthur runs well. And Weiss was playing back. He had to come a long way to get that ball. Made a nice play on it. Really nice fielding play on the ball. He just beat it.
I guess it didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
His foot was on the bag. He just beat it. Infield hit for Arthur, his 2nd hit of the game, and now Tyler Naquin. His team may be on the way to winning 2 games, but he's not had a big series. He came in hitting .403 last night. And then he went 1 for 4. And today, Tyler is 0 for 3. Hit into a double play last time.
Yeah, dropped down to 392.
Hiker.
Yeah, the guys would love to be dropping down to 392.
Can't hit 400. Come on. That's outside, ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. No, actually, that's a good thing in a way, because if you're on the way to winning 2 games without your big stick really contributing much, that's good, because you know he's going to contribute as this year moves on.
Yeah, you got to have the whole team contributing. Like I said, if you're going to move further on in the tournament and even in regional play, everybody's got to chip in somewhere along the way.
1 ball and a strike. Runner at first base, Arthur. Oh, bunt for a hit. That'll get you out of a slump. That's going to be a base
no way.
hit.
There's no way, yeah.
Nice bunt. He just did that one perfectly. Weiss is thinking they're picking on him. First of all, they're hitting some shots at him that he was having trouble with. Now they're bunting on him.
That's a perfectly executed bunt. Just get it on the ground and go. And didn't try to run before he put it down. He just put it down and then took off. And with his speed, he's going to get there because third baseman's playing so deep. Too many guys in that position, they start running before they put the ball down, and either they bunt it too hard or they just miss it.
Now in college baseball, don't be terribly surprised if you don't see another one, even though House is the cleanup hitter. Not going to do it, it doesn't look like, but there are times in college baseball this would be a bunt too as well for a sacrifice.
Yes, keep them out of the double play and get runners in scoring position.
1 ball and no strikes. Foul ball. He was wound up on that one a little bit too much. 1-1 to Jacob House. He bounced out to first base in the 1st, grounded out second baseman in the 3rd, flied to center field ending the 4th, singled and stole a base and scored a run in the 7th. That all adds up to 1 for 4. Inside, too much. 2 balls and a strike. Runner at second base is Arthur. The runner at first is Naquin. Nobody out here in the top of the 8th. Aggies already lead 8-3. 3-1. There's some action in the Longhorn bullpen. High fly ball, center field. Maitland says, I'll catch it if it ever comes down. 1 out. As we're watching the State Farm Lone Star Showdown here with baseball, here's, it involves all sports. The points that have been acquired so far this year, that means they've already had their championships or their matchups. Baseball, the series isn't over. Softball isn't over. Golf and outdoor track and field still to be played. That's how it stands right now. Texas has more points, but there are still points to be won. Matt Yangle with runners at first and second and 1 out. Hits the ball in the air. Moving over for it is Maitland, the center fielder. Runner's going to tag at second, and he's going to go to third. Runner at first tags and goes to second. They both successfully advance.
Yeah, look how deep that ballpark is. He hit the ball well. It's such a big ballpark. Both guys tagging up on the fly ball to get in scoring position with 2 outs. Like I said, Matt hit that ball real well. Just kind of died out there in left center field.
So it's up to Brandon Wood to see if he can bring him home with 2 outs. Last time he was up in the 7th, he was facing Curtis and he walked. Chopper to the right side. Marlowe, the second baseman, squares, gobbles, fires, no runs, 2 hits, no harm. 2 left. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Texas needs some runs. They're down by 5 to the Aggies.
If you go to UT, there's a good chance you could be the next Walter Cronkite, the next Michael Dell, or the next Denton Cooley. But why aim low? The University of Texas. What starts here changes the world.
What makes Sam Adams Boston Lager great is as simple as ABC. A, the appearance. Amber. B, balance.
Sam Adams has nut sweetness, hoppy bitterness.
C, complexity.
Piney notes, grapefruit notes.
Only believe your own palate. Go taste it.
Bounced any checks lately? These days, banks can charge up to $30 a pop. But what about those checks you have to write? Call or go to moneymutual.com. We have the largest network of short-term lenders who could get you up to $1,000 in your checking account by tomorrow. No more bounced checks, no collection calls, no shut-off of services. Just be 18 or older with a minimum income of $800 a month. For short-term cash when you need it fast, go to moneymutual.com or call 1-800-585-CASH now.
The stars come out, the gloves come off in $1 million brawl.
Trying to start no fight, but I'll finish one every time.
The NASCAR All-Star Race, next month, exclusively on Speed.
As we go to the bottom of the 8th, it's 8-3 in favor of Texas A&M. Let's take a look at the Pitcher of the Year watch list. Well, Ross Stripling is in this game, is on it. So is Rafael Pineda, who will pitch tomorrow. Of course, Neville will also pitch, but now there's a guy missing. How did he not get on the list?
I don't know. We saw that guy last night, didn't we, Greg?
Michael Walker should be on the list. This is a national list, so somebody is not on top of things.
I guess they don't want to put 3 Aggies on that list.
I guess.
The whole starting rotation.
Pretty good. 2 on the watch list, and the 3rd one should be. Here's Walsh leading off, and he pops it up the left side. Wood backing up. That did get caught in the wind. There, 1 out.
They get that one high enough up there in the wind where it did drift a little bit.
Alex Silver.
Interesting. See if
112 pitches so far for Stripling.
Yeah, interesting to see if Rob Childress lets him. Obviously, you get through the 8th here. If he comes back out for the 9th, we saw Waka last night go 8 innings and then go to the bullpen.
Silver's 0 for 3. What we saw in the 8th inning for Waka was he started to miss some spots and walked a couple, and that was even though at the end of the game we talked to him, he said, I could have gone another inning. Well, that's pitcher talk.
You always got another inning in you. Ask any pitcher.
1 ball and 2 strikes. So far, though, Stripling he's given up a couple of hits, but he hasn't really been any trouble since the 5th at all. That's the swing, and they're going to have to throw it to first and make the 3rd out, so it's 4th strikeout, no walks. That is impressive, too.
Yeah, that's the key. You're going to be in every ballgame. You can give up the hits. There's that breaking ball we talked about in the open. Getting a lot of players with that breaking pitch.
Now Jacob Feltz, 1 out of 3.
Starting to see the shadows creep in around home plate. And that's how it makes it tough for the hitters to pick up when you're coming from the sun into the shadows. Notice it right there in the batter's box.
They're probably okay now because they're not out where they're picking up the ball. The point where the shadow is now, they've already started to swing. But 9th inning, it may be a little tough.
Yeah, out in front of the dirt/turf. Right, Greg?
Yeah, it's got to get out right there at the point where they've got to see it. Yeah. That last minute to decide whether they're swinging or not. And then it disappears, or it changes, doesn't disappear, but it gets darker.
It was tough when it's halfway, you know, those hitters.
Yeah.
It's tough when your pitchers love it when it's like that.
3 balls and a strike to Feltz. Full count. That's the thing. Even at this stage, maybe a couple of hitters say, well, we'll work the count, we'll see what's going on. Well, he's not going to let him. He's going to throw strikes. Foul ball.
That's the thing. You know, you look at both Waka last night and Stripling today. They could throw strikes with any of their pitches at any time of the count. And that's the toughest part. You know, when you're a hitter in a situation like this, they could throw the breaking ball, the changeup. Doesn't always have to be the fastball.
On the fist, routine ground to Reynolds, and a routine 1-2-3. Another strike. If that is his finish, it was a strong finish. We go to the top of the 9th. 8-3 Aggies.
It's time for what Texas A&M does best. Driving our service to Texas and the nation in research and discovery. Lifting us to the top of the list for corporate recruitment and jobs. Aggie spirit shines as we challenge and advance. Now, more than ever, it's time for Texas A&M.
Coming May 13th, a Barclays Premier League event. On the final day of the season, 9 games, broadcast simultaneously across these Fox outlets, live. Who will join Champions League? Who will lose everything? Survival Sunday, May 13th, live at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, sponsored by Pizza Hut.
The happiest moment in my baseball career was when I put the Brooklyn Dodger uniform on.
I couldn't believe when I went out on the mound, I turned around and there's Joe playing center field for me.
I'm Tom Brokaw. Join me for The Boys in the Hall, the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends.
The Boys in the Hall, Sundays, presented by Subway Restaurants.
Aggies lead 8-3. There have been so many memories in this series, which comes to an end after tomorrow. Who can forget 1907 when George Smith threw a no-hitter?
We weren't there doing that game, were we, Greg?
I don't think so. John Curl hit 3 home runs. I actually remember that one. Jason Tyner had a big stolen base game. Corey Patton drove in 7 in a game. Well, they'll play again someday. We just don't know when. There's a base hit, I think, to right field. That'll be fair. And Stein will take the turn and go into second base. He has had a nice series. That's 2 doubles in this game.
Well, Troy's had a nice series so far. Said 2 doubles today, 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs in last night's game.
But Blake Alleman has had a pretty good game today. He's the third baseman. He had a base hit in the second inning, part of that 2-run inning. Then he came back and had another one. He drove in a run, a ground out, and he had a 2-run single. And then he made this catch. This is good as any.
Yeah. Like a Derek Jeter diving in there.
Well, he's at the plate now. He's driven in 3. 2 hits and a sacrifice bunt. Ball 1.
He was played like our directors, like that candy bar, Greg, huh?
Yes. The almond. It was a joy to watch.
It was a joy to watch today.
Give him credit. That was Bob's.
Yeah, we'll give Bob credit on that one.
Bob gets that one. That's another way of saying we don't want to claim it. 2 balls and no strikes. Silver at first will get to the bag. The runner will go to third. Stein is perched there. 1 out.
And there's another productive out for the Aggies, moving the runner across, get him to third base with less than 2 outs. Fly ball, score him, sacrifice fly.
Cray Botson, the center fielder. He has a couple of runs batted. He bounced at the shortstop in the second, drove in a run. Had a single in the fourth, drove in a run, caught stealing when he got caught in the knee of the second baseman. Marlowe couldn't get to the bag. Then he lined out hard to center field and popped to second. 2 balls and a strike. Top the ball. Got to it.
Good play.
Curtis fires it across. 2 outs.
Kept his balance, checked the runner at third base, and still made the play over at first. Nice play to John Curtis. Right here, he tops it. He comes over, makes the play, checks the runner at third, throws a nice strike to first base. Look at that ability.